YouTube family, what's going on? It's your boy Ty. And for those of you that may be new, here on this channel I talk about fragrances, but also sprinkling some fashion and lifestyle content as well. So do me a favor, if you're interested in that type of content, go ahead and consider subscribing and make sure you hit the bell to stay notified anytime I post any new content. And today we have another fragrance review, this time for Hugo Boss The Scent Elixir. So I had a chance to sample this one a couple months back, and needless to say, sampling went pretty well because I did pick up a full bottle. So what we'll do, as usual, we'll talk a little bit about how this one smells, get into performance, versatility, and then ultimately I'll leave you with my final thoughts. So if that sounds good to you, let's jump right into it. Hugo Boss The Scent Elixir. What do you get with this one? Yeah. Essentially, we'll start with the note breakdown. Like many of the recent designer releases, moving to a more simplistic note breakdown. So only 3 notes that we get listed. You have pimento pepper, sandalwood, and lavender. Now, I do get a bit more than that, and I think the main thing I get in addition to those 3 notes is that Maninka fruit. So for anyone that is familiar with Hugo Boss The Scent, kind of the other fragrances within that line, you'll know that Maninka fruit is definitely a big part of kind of all of the fragrances and just that DNA in general. So you definitely pick up on that here as well. And I think it's a well-needed and beautiful addition to the fragrance. So what are you going to get with this fragrance when you first spray it on? Essentially, you get a blast of that pimento pepper and the Maninka fruit. So the spice from the pimento pepper, the fruity sweetness from the Maninka fruit, really, stand out and are what, it's what I pick up most, at least to my nose, and smells really good, right? Almost gives it a cinnamon smell with the sweet spiciness, and I really enjoy the opening. As it continues to dry down and you get to the mid, you start to get some of the sandalwood, and then you also get lavender as well. And, really the sandalwood for me, in this fragrance just kind of adds a little bit of depth, texture, makes it a bit creamy, almost smooth feeling, and then the lavender keeps it from being too warm, spicy, and gives it a bit of airiness and sort of freshness to it, right? Definitely not a fresh overall fragrance, but has a fresh component thanks to that lavender. So essentially what you get with this one, really nice, warm, spicy, slightly fresh fragrance that just smells really great. And I mean, I'll be honest, is it super unique or groundbreaking? No. Is it simple? Yes, relatively linear, but does it smell great? Yes. And, for me, I really enjoy this sort of DNA. So I think it's one of the best, if not the best, designer releases of 2024. It's that good. And in terms of if this one smells like anything else or compares to anything else, so excluding the Hugo Boss The Scent line, because obviously some familiarity with those fragrances, this one did also remind me of Spice Bomb Infrared, the EDP, right? So I do think with the Hugo Boss here, it's a bit more sophisticated, a bit more refined, and even more versatile. Just with the lavender and freshness. But all in all, in the air, it did initially remind me of that whenever I first sprayed it on. And then also, Azzaro's The Most Wanted, the EDP Intense, so the black bottle. Just that sweet spiciness that one has, again, puts me in the same mindset, same mood when smelling it. Though I think this one isn't quite as sweet, and again, maybe a little bit more versatile just with that freshness from the lavender. Again, this is not a one-to-one of either of those fragrances. However, to my nose at least, those are just 2 fragrances that come to mind. So in case you may own those or have smelled them before, get a better idea of what maybe to expect with this one. But with that, let's move into versatility and performance. Starting with performance, y'all, this one performs very well. I get 8+ hours longevity each time I've worn it so far, but the star of the show is the projection and sillage. This one projects very well. I'm talking beyond an arm's length for the first 2.5 hours, maybe even longer than that. So it's definitely one that it's going to announce itself and announce you, but in a good way, right? It's very, warm, spicy, inviting, smells great, and it's one that's led to a lot of compliments for me thus far. I've only owned it for a short amount of time, but the compliments have definitely been rolling in. So one that definitely checks all the boxes for performance. And in terms of versatility, I think definitely one that works best in cooler or cold weather. So, fall, winter, even spring, you can get away with it as well. But very versatile in terms of setting, right? So it can be worn day or evening, casual or dressed up. I think this one really is a great, cool, cold weather signature scent. So that fall, winter time, again, this can be one you just grab and go no matter what the occasion is. For me personally, I've used it mostly for nights and evenings out, and I think it's worked very well in that department. But again, has the versatility with that warm, spicy sweetness and a touch of freshness to really span, a variety of different settings and scenarios, especially when the weather's cool. So moving into my final thoughts of Hugo Boss Scent Elixir. And if you can't tell by now, this one is a love for me. Really love the DNA. Again, it isn't anything groundbreaking or, super special, but simplistic and it smells great. Performance is good on top of that. And, in my honest opinion, as I mentioned, one of the best, if not the best release of 2024 on the designer side. I think if you're in the market for a new warm, spicy, slightly fresh fragrance, this is one you probably should check out. I did pick this one up, I believe, from Joma Shop a couple months back, less than $100. And I think, again, at that price point, an absolute steal and one worth checking out. So that's going to wrap up today's review. I want to take a moment to thank you all for watching. Know that you could be doing anything else, but you decided to tune in, and I really appreciate that. Do me a favor, if you enjoyed today's video or similar content, go ahead and consider subscribing and then make sure you hit the thumbs up to help the channel continue to grow. And as always, if you've ever tried Hugo Boss Scent Elixir, please leave them a comment below. Let me know your thoughts and experience with that. I'd love to hear about it. And until next time, peace and love.